I like to do kind of like a running start. I'm imagining it right now, kind of like like starting a car by having it neutral, pushing it, and then getting it rolling down a hill. Then maybe eventually it'll actually start, or I'll edit it to make it look like it did.
Yeah.
That's actually what happens.
Tell me your name again, please.
My name's Terry.
And Janna.
You're Janna.
Yeah.
And
Dreher.
I'm Pete.
And you're
Dreher.
Pete, and that's
Dreher.
Jason.
Yeah.
And I'm Terry, and that's but
Janna.
Rhymes with banana.
banana.
Ah.
I was
Janna,
gonna
Janna,
I
Bovana.
forgot for a joke, and then I actually forgot, and I was like, wait a second.
Oh yeah.
So Janna from Reggaefest, and then Pete the Doorman.
Pete Cich.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, I suppose I think the common denominator today is event running and organization. Reggaefest is July 15th at Bayfront Park. Doors open at 12. It says rain or shine.
And the
Yeah.
17th annual.
Yeah,
Seven-
17th
Wow.
annual, rain or shine, because people are flying from all over the place, and
Yeah, I suppose.
you know they got to come and do their thing, and that's why we keep having it, rain or shine.
So 17 is that's quite a bit. So how did it start initially?
An interesting story, actually. Back in 2004, I had a friend named Peter Nelson from a band called Shangoya, and the older folks would probably recognize that as a band out of the Twin Cities. And Peter was a pal of mine, and my daughter was playing steel drum in his band. He used to come out to the house and stay with us. Well, at any rate, one night he was coming out to the house and he didn't make it. He ended up passing away. So that was after a show at the old tap room. And so anyway, a friend of mine, Mary Kane, had suggested we start a Reggae Fest. And so I said, sure, let's do it. And I just kind of jumped on that because we wanted to pay tribute to Peter Nelson for the fact that he was from Trinidad and he had brought Caribbean music to Minnesota back in the 70s and was a prominent musician down in the Twin Cities. And so anyways, the first year we gave a tribute to him in our program, and ever since then I've been giving tributes to artists who have been prominent artists in the genre. And sadly, because reggae music had a big heyday back in the 70s and 80s, I guess you could say, that we have a lot of older musicians. So every year I'm having to honor people in a memoriam in our program who have been fantastic artists. For example, last year we had to pay tribute to Robbie Shakespeare from Sly and Robbie. If you know that drum and bass duo, they had recorded so many folks in the industry in Jamaica and all around the world. I mean, they have performed with people like Sinead O'Connor. I mean, they were very prominent musicians. And then people would recognize Toots from Toots and the Maytals. He passed away. And we've just had so many artists that we've been losing, which is sad. But at any rate, we've got an up and coming younger crowd of reggae roots artists now, if you will, too. People like Chronix and Protege, Kabaka Pyramid. Some of these younger people are trying to bring on and carry on the tradition of conscious reggae music, if you will. So anyway, so it started way back when, and I just have a passion for reggae and world music. And I had been involved with the Two Harbors Folk Festival for many years, so I kind of had under my belt some knowledge about how to do music festivals, and I was also on the board for the Two Harbors Kayak Festival, so I just kind of jumped in with 2 feet and tried to pull this off. So we've been going quite a long time now, which is something I've worked hard at and feel proud of.
Has it always? Did it seem like it was going to work from the start, or is it kind of a miracle that it's year 17? Is it all going to kind of come together again?
Oh, every year it's stressful like that because, most of the sales are on at the day of the show and not as many sales online. So I never know until the day of the show what our turnout is going to be like, right? But I just kind of have believed in it, and I do it for the mission too. It's, for me, it's about my heart's in it. You know what I mean? So it has mattered less how I've done. It's been mattered more that I'm bringing this message of love, hope, and equality to people worldwide through a music festival, right? So
Sure,
I just believe in the mission of what reggae music has been all about. So, and I'm a musician myself, so
Oh,
my heart's in it in those ways.
reggae or is
Reggae, yeah, I love
Oh,
reggae music. I
so-
love to play it, and
Janna's played on stage here at
Yeah.
Uprising, and
yeah, I was in a band, Uprising. I was years ago. I played with Prince Paul and the Conscious Party. Played with a guy from St. Thomas named Pablo Prosper. I'm a keyboard player, so and I write. So right now I got a couple of songs in production out in Oregon with a friend of mine who's a percussion famous drummer actually, and so I'm excited to see what he does with the songs I wrote. So
Oh, yeah.
we'll see what happens.
So was playing on stage is that here is that the Wussow's connection?
Yeah, I guess so. I've known Jason over the years because I have played here before and probably promoted here before and had him and his band at our festival before.
Woodbine's been on the. That was a.
Is that
really-
allowed? I know
Couple
ska and
times.
reggae. That's a whole.
Well, ska and reggae, they're
that's a whole thing.
no, they're friends.
Yeah, they're friends. World. You can categorize it world music, right? And ska is certainly music out of the Caribbean too. So yeah,
And the food is,
Oh,
even though this started out as a memorial, you wouldn't know it when you go to Reggaefest because it's so fun and everyone's having a great time and dancing. And then, to me, a special thing is the food court because I mean, how many different Jamaican food trucks come?
yeah, we have. Well, we've got all kinds of food this year because the lines felt like they were getting too long last year. So we've got all kinds of Jamaican food vendors, African food vendors. We have our staples that are out of Duluth here, like Saigon Cafe and King of Creams. Those are people who've been out with us since year one. So a lot of these people come back every year. And a lot of the vendors come out of the Twin Cities bringing up the Caribbean line of food. So if you like to try different authentic kinds of Caribbean food or African food, we have things like people bring, of course, the jerk chicken, curried chicken,
Curry goat, my
curried
favorite.
goat.
Oh.
There's oxtail.
Yeah, oxtail's
There's
good.
red snapper in a kind of a spicy sauce. There's samosas out of the African line. There's jalo rice, it's called. Different kinds of fish. There's just a lot of different
It's really that's a
amazing food.
that's a when we played it was impossible to pick because the lineup of fun food was stuff that we don't have in Duluth. I wish we had a Ethiopian restaurant or a now we do have Jamrock, I guess, but
Yeah. Yeah, we got Jamrock, and then we have like Tamu Grill is my friend Jojo comes up. He kind of brings a Kenyan line of foods. Then we have Liberian type style foods coming. We have this year, I'm excited for the first time we have roti coming, and roti is a food out of Trinidad. You might picture it as a big kind of a tortilla that's stuffed with something like curried chicken, and it's absolutely delicious. And so we've got roti this year. I'm really excited about that.
Oh my
It's
goodness.
definitely a foodie event.
well, that's a good way to get people to come. I think. So.
Yeah.
I think that's why I picked both you guys for the day because you've been running the Reggae Fest and love good food and love good music and good community and Pete Cich being here. I mean, Pete Fest, we just had 11 years of Pete Fest, and you've probably been doing the door at Wussow's for
Since we probably started doing shows.
almost since we opened the doors. And Pete's so into the music scene too, because I know you'll go and help out Charlie Parr with merchandise sales. Or what's some of your favorite stories of getting to hang out with some of your favorite musicians?
Just hearing about other musicians, even famous musicians, of like even Al Sparhawk, just telling stories about how he used to hang out with Robert Plant and and just the random things out there. Like Robert would just randomly go see them every time they played Europe, and it's kind of cool. They got to hang out, I guess, this past time when they played the Willie Nelson birthday bash. In Wisconsin.
You went down?
No, I didn't go. I wanted
Oh.
to go, but that would have been really cool to see that. But it's just cool to see that no matter who you talk to, these musicians are still the same people as if you just first saw them play on a small stage. They haven't changed.
It is kind of cool to see someone play in front of 10,000 people and then come play here in front of 80 people.
Yeah.
It's really amazing to see that.
Still blows my mind that people are still that still do that. It's really cool.
I want to just add that one of my favorite musicians is David Lindley, who did the lead slide guitar in Jackson Brown's song "Running on Empty." If you guys remember that solo, and he passed away about 3 months ago. But he had come to Sacred Heart Music Center, and I got a chance to talk to him for a while, and I felt very honored because he's such a multi-instrumentalist. I'm very sad that he's passed. He was just a fabulous session musician out of LA, and it's just so cool when people, like you say, are here in Duluth and get a chance to appreciate the music that they are able to perform. It's really something.
That makes me think of Adrian Legg. Do you ever catch him?
I saw David Lindley with Adrian Legg back at Cedar Cultural Center several years ago now.
So he played here once, and he is the sweetest guy, and he's amazing. And he actually stayed at my house, and I got a call to see if he wanted to come back here, and I'm like, I'll save the date, but I found out they're going to be at the West. So Adrian Legg is coming back to Duluth, coming up here shortly. I forget the day, but he's going to be at the West Theater across the street, which is kind of a fun thing too, to have across the street, that next level theater of a little bigger thing. Because so many bands have started out here, and you can only fit so many people in here, and you got to move upward, hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, Bob's working really hard over at the West to do great shows. He's bringing in a lot of great talent, so it's kind of exciting to see that happening too, right?
Oh yeah, we need it. We don't really. This is the only independent theater we have, honestly.
That I don't know.
Oh, that's what I heard because
It is entirely possible.
Yeah, I have not done my homework on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
It's a
it's
small
only
place.
it's only the Duluth Cinema, north and south here, if you will. And then Bob, that's the only theaters we got, right?
Well, the North Shore.
The North Shore.
Oh, and
Well,
North Shore,
well, and
but
then-
that's
Yeah,
not
I
a
saw no- I saw-
movie theater per se,
No,
No.
movie
Yeah.
theater.
They
I see
got
what you're
stage.
saying. Independent movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zeitgeist and West.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Zeitgeist too,
Zeitgeist.
yeah.
It's the only one I can think of.
I do want to see Asteroid City. I wish it was coming into the West.
Man, by the time this episode comes out, we're even closer to the Barbie movie coming out.
Oh.
I'm so excited.
The Barbie movie. I keep hearing about this. I don't even.
Oh, yeah.
My head is in the sand.
I mean, really, the most exciting part is the next Doctor Who is in that. His name is Ncuti Gatwa, and man, what a talent. Speaking of talent, sure, yeah, Duluth is kind of a particular place. I feel like some people try to say, oh, it's just like everywhere else in the Midwest, but not true. Do you find that being in Duluth helps your respective festivals at all? Like the community that exists here, or the talent that comes from here or comes through here?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things about this area that brings people to this area, and they love playing this area, mainly because I think wherever they first play, they always remember that and want to come back and play there again. Or if they play another show, sometimes they'll try another venue sometimes, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but they'll always come back and play. And then there's people that still will play here even after they sell out 2 shows practically, and still want to come and play here, like Daniel Champagne. First time he played here, nobody came, and now
Yeah.
it's unreal. Like, that guy should be playing the Deck Auditorium or something at this rate, in my opinion.
Sure,
In
yeah.
other countries.
Yeah, that's what
Oh.
I'm saying, at that level.
Oh wow, okay.
So
This tour, he's playing here in August 21st, 22nd, and he's doing 72 U.S. dates. Is that what
Oh,
it
wow.
I
is?
think it was 72. Right after doing these last run of, I think it was over some other country.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
He tours all over. He's from Australia, and he's always going somewhere. And he posts photos of the venues he's playing sometimes, and they're big theaters.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the smallest rooms he plays. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool, though, that people like to come to Duluth. And I think we got to give credit to Bayfront Park, too, because it's such a beautiful venue. And the musicians that I bring, and, I'm flying people, like, for instance, this year, Conscience and Luciano, they're flying from Jamaica. Stoneboy is coming from Ghana, Africa. Allison Hines is coming from Barbados. And the people who come from all these countries are so impressed with how beautiful the venue is. And they really do love performing there. And so the vibe is really awesome in Duluth. And because it's small town, it feels personable, I think. So I feel like the musicians really enjoy that part of the experience here. It's hard to get people here for me because I've got to figure out transportation and pull everybody up, like 25 people up at different times from the Twin Cities. So, because they fly in the Twin City, it's more affordable. So it's really quite challenging to get them here.
Oh, wow.
But once they're here, they love it, and
Well, maybe
So-
they know how good the backstage food is because when
Backstage
Woodbine
better.
played Reggae Fest, it was like no backstage food you've ever seen. Everything was like fresh mango, and
Oh.
it was all delicious, really good fresh food, and not hot dogs or chips or.
Well, the thing about my crowd is it's very diverse. I got people coming from all over the Caribbean. They're living in Minnesota and 5 other state areas, if you will, and they come down from Canada, primarily Thunder Bay, but they do come because of the diversity. People love the fact that the festival brings in all kinds of people. And that's, I think, the part about Duluth that's cool too. It's very welcoming. And when we have our festival, everybody's having a great time, and no one's having disputes, you know what I mean? And I mean, all kinds of African nations are represented at our event. And people literally come up and thank me over and over when I walk out in the crowd and thank me for bringing the festival to Duluth because it's a needed, diverse event. And, like I say, people love that and appreciate that.
And it's an affordable festival. I mean,
Yeah.
it's because how tickets were as low as.
Well, this year, right now, they're at $65 for an adult, and you can get a little bit of a break online in advance. That advance sales ends mid-June, so that I can just kind of get to selling tickets. I'm challenged to sell that $65 and make all the expenses get paid for. But yeah, I try to make it affordable because I know that people travel and I know that it's expensive to stay in Duluth in the summer. So I try to do my part with that too, right? Try to help people out.
Well, if Taylor Swift tickets are going for $1,200 to $15,000,
Yeah, it's really something. huh?
65 is pretty affordable for an
yeah.
all-day amazing experience.
We have great sponsors too. I should mention that
Sure.
if that's okay.
Sure.
I mean, I've had 20 sponsors, kind of basically that's about the number that comes, but the sponsors keep coming back every year. And if they don't give me cash, they give me in-kind services. And I appreciate that so much because it's a hard event to pull off. And I'm very thankful for people like Burnix, Fox 21. We got Lux Photo Booth that are sponsoring us, Grandma's and the Garden. Tony Bronson there helps us a lot every year. Arrowhead Printing and Twin Ports Nightlife, Duluth Grill. Tom Hansen and Jama help so much with just trying to help us with feeding some people, right? So Centricity, my bank, they're great. The Reader, radio stations, it's kind of awesome that people come on board and help us out. So we really appreciate that too.
So shifting scale a little bit, because it's like the venue here is a lot smaller, but the length of the festival is a lot longer. So what is the origin then of Pete Fest?
It just kind of happened one year.
Well,
And it was
a
kind of
massive
crazy.
birthday party.
Massive birthday party.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's kind of where it started. But this is at a time there was really no music happening that weekend or something in town. So it just kind of happened crazy at first with too many bands in one day. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
It kind of got scaled back.
When Pete
over the
first
years.
started, it was like, I booked 8 bands per night. It's like, what?
Because your mind is thinking festival. What do you do? What's a festival? Oh, there's like 8 or 10 bands in a day. You don't think on a smaller scale when you're thinking festival. you
When
know?
it's 7 days long.
Yeah. you know.
Yeah, it ends up being a little much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. So what is it at now? What did it kind of like equal out to?
Now it's about 2 or 3 per night,
Okay.
roughly on average.
And then how many nights does it go?
This year it went 7, just because it was
full
kind of
7. Okay.
it started on a weekend and ended on a weeknight. So
Oh yeah, right.
I kind of rearranged it different this year because of my brother's wedding. But
Oh,
but it still worked out. It was every
Oh,
night
good.
was pretty solid.
It was a good lineup.
Yeah.
And Why Not was here, and they were awesome. And then just a little, they were just at Bayfront.
Bayfront opening up for Hippocampus, which is really cool. So
so again, that kind of bipping around to
yeah, but then they'll
Different-
come and play a small place like this, and
Right.
then they'll go play a show for however many people at Bayfront.
Right.
I
which is
really
pretty
like
cool.
Craig,
Oh, Alexander Craig.
Alexander Craig.
Yeah.
That was I didn't
Crankshaft.
really know what he was up to, but that was a cool. See, Pete finds some really different stuff, because it's sort of the opposite of 1 week live. Pete's birthday bash, and it's literally Pete doesn't do the door, and he gets to pick every one of his favorites.
And then there's usually new bands that I have yet to hear, which I'm like, it just happened to work out that you're playing around the same time. And they come and they just like, wow, this is really cool.
It's right after school gets out, so younger bands can tour, and it's usually actually a really slow time usually for music. We used to not do music ever that was weekends because it was graduation weekend. It was, everyone's moving, getting out of school, and I forget even how it worked out, but it was like, what if we had this birthday bash Pete Fest? It's like, okay.
Yeah.
And it's been actually super fun. I mean, right after COVID was one of the funnest times.
Oh, yeah.
It almost felt illegal. Sparhawk's new band played. Duracha?
Duracho,
Duracho,
that was their very first
show. And it was like, whoa. And
yeah.
it felt illegal because everyone was in shelter for over a year, and then we're having an indoor festival.
And it's storming outside.
Oh.
And everyone's just inside. We're just all jamming. Like, yeah, this is pretty cool. Even though we shouldn't really be doing this, but we're doing it anyway.
What was the effect of COVID on your festivals?
Well, we had to take a year break. We couldn't have it in
Just fully just off?
2020 because things were just shut down.
Everywhere, yeah.
So yeah, well, because I know, obviously some places tried to do some sort of online equivalent, but I suppose it just wouldn't be the same. Just sitting at your
Plus,
computer.
you can't fly from Ghana.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, everything was messed up. And does everyone feel like things have just gotten different and kind of unusual after COVID? With
Oh yeah.
just
yeah.
different ways.
Things are definitely different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, shows are early now, which is nice, but there's no late night food anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
There's starting to be a little bit, but
yeah.
well, I mean, when this place opened, the Jade Fountain was a Chinese restaurant, and they would be open till midnight, and
yep.
we'd bring bands over there, like, other spots. After COVID, even like the gas station was closed. You couldn't even get a frozen pizza. So
Oh, right.
you've got like 3 bands staying at your house, and you're like, I guess we're having rice-a-roni? No, I don't know.
Yeah, it is different, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't mind that we're not having to listen to music till 2 a.m. all the time, though. It's a little bit easier for the body.
It is a little easier now.
My customers want to know where the after party is after the after party.
I know, right?
They're really a late night crowd, and it's a cultural thing. I mean, in Jamaica, when I go to shows down there, the headliners start at 4 a.m. and they go till 7. It's like,
Oh wow.
are you kidding me? I can't do this anymore.
Wow.
I got to remind our performers, though, the show's done at 11, so chop,
probably
chop,
ready
let's
to go at
go.
it. Yeah,
That's
after,
funny.
yeah.
How I mean, wrangling reggae artists is they're not the most timely.
No.
I gotta say, out of all the bands I've tried to wrangle, reggae bands kind of are on island time.
That is true. And I have a great stage manager, Angie, who keeps people moving. Let's put it that way.
It's much needed, I'm sure.
Oh.
Yeah.
What are some of the other kind of logistical challenges that you guys face?
Sometimes you get the last minute cancellations or the last
Oh.
minute, like trying to find a fill in, or maybe there's a van breaks down here or somebody breaks down, there's always those things, or maybe there's sound issues, but you always find a way to make it work somehow. It just
Oh.
seems to find its own way.
Yeah, kind of just duct
No
taping
matter
together.
what,
Even
There's
yeah.
always, that's what's so cool about this community. We've had a show here, I think, where somebody needed a keyboard pedal. Bang. There's Scott Lillo, sound extraordinaire, will, just kind of find a way to get a pedal to somebody, just at last minute.
Yeah.
So.
Oh.
And it's the same way probably for the Reggaefest too, if there's any last minute,
Yeah. We've had a few cancellations in the past, and one in particular was the first year that I tried to run a 2-day event, and then our Sunday performer, apparently the story goes, was in bad management, and so the artist never showed up. It really affected our show, and it caused me to not be able to try to do 2 days again. I mean, it was that bad. But I spent the whole weekend of my festival trying to arrange for another artist to come. And we got somebody to come I think it was out of Atlanta, actually. But Wow, that was hard.
Oof.
So I work with a talent buyer now that I can trust and makes sure that people deliver the artists because it's just crazy hard when they cancel. So yeah,
On that scale, especially.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really hard. But I have to give kudos to Sound Central too, who I work with a lot for our event. You mentioned Scott;
Yeah.
he's awesome, and Sound Central, and then also T&E Concerts, who do our backline. They have been just wonderful companies to work with.
And they're right out here in West
Yeah.
Duluth.
Yeah, I
And
know.
they're so great.
It's
And they're so
good.
great.
They've
Yeah.
helped me out so much. So much.
Yeah, it's really remarkable the quality of services that we can get in our town, right?
Mm. What are some like just really fond memories of from over the many years now you guys have been doing these things?
So years ago, we had an after party. So it's whatever, it's 2 a.m. and everybody's trying to get into their hotel rooms. I think we are at the Radisson that year. And I got a knock on the door about 3 a.m. and it was a guy named Junior Reed. He knocks on the door. He says to me, I don't want to go. He was having too much fun in Duluth.
Oh.
I just said to him, get on the plane. And I shut the door because I was exhausted. But that's kind of my point about people love coming to Duluth. It's funny to me. And then Gramps Morgan from Morgan Heritage, if you know that band, he comes to the park and he stares at Bayfront Park and goes, this is a great venue. Your show is going to grow. And he's very confident that, our show would grow because he just thought it was such a beautiful park and a wonderful area.
What Marley was playing when we played?
We had Kamani Marley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was so fun to watch him watching the band before him. He was definitely very fragrant and a very giant fragrant
Yeah.
piece hanging out.
Mhm.
And I was like, wow, this is like out of the movies, just for real.
Yeah.
I'm like, how is he going to sing? And he did.
Yeah. He was very nice. I actually wrote a song about his dad's song One Love. Everybody knows the song One Love, right? So it's a song about a song. And it was kind of giving appreciation for the message in that song. I sang it to him while he's sitting in his van just to show him that.
He had a van?
He was in a van. I sang to him in
Just a
his
regular
van.
van.
Just a regular van.
Oh, man. What do you remember the lineup of first Pete Fest even? I can't even.
Oh boy.
We should have went back and found some old calendars.
I think what Mary Bew played, Look Down Moon,
Look Down Moon.
Low.
Low played the first Pete Fest.
Low played the very
That's
first
not when
one.
I bashed Mim in the mouth, I hope.
That
Yeah.
was the very first, yeah.
Oh,
And-
that's a memorable moment.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I went to move a monitor and Lo was playing and Mim couldn't hear herself and I pushed the monitor a little closer and it wouldn't move and then it did move and I had her mic up so loud because she was singing so quiet and it bam hit the mic stand and popped her in the mouth and
Oh.
split her lip open
Oh.
Oh, gee.
and everyone like stopped and I looked back and the place was packed and that is one of the most embarrassing days of my life actually.
But the show kept going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Where did you have that first show?
it was here.
That was here. Okay.
Yeah. It was a lot of, a lot of great people that have played that. The very first one. I mean, that was, and it's been fun ever since.
Jeffrey James.
Except for James.
Miss Jeffrey James a lot from wherever he is.
Yeah.
So has it always been here then?
Yeah.
And then has it always been at Bayfront?
Yeah.
Okay.
The after parties have moved around, but
Oh, well, sure.
yeah, but we've always been at Bayfront. Yeah.
You got to move the after parties. So
Yeah. Got to find room for the after parties. Now
Yeah.
we're in 2 clubs, actually.
where is it this year?
We're going to be at Aces and Spurs on First.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That's-
That's gonna be wild.
It's
Yeah.
always wild.
That's a little too wild.
yeah. I don't.
Crazy wild. People having a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Heck yeah.
I got another story about our first festival, if
Sure,
I
yeah.
may share. So our first show, we had Culture, and that was an artist named Joseph Hill from the band Culture. They were a prominent reggae band, and it happened to be the last show that he ever did in the United States because he was traveling in Europe a month later in August, and he passed away. So that was very sad too.
Oh.
So like I say, to my point about, we have some aging artists that kind of that's the history of our first show. So not to be a downer here,
Well, no.
because I got a lot of great young talent that we've had too, but I mean, it's just part of the culture. The reggae artists, we've got a lot of aging ones that have been performing, kind of from the earlier times of reggae music. Even ska, soca artists have been passing away. And like Calypso, we just lost Harry Belafonte.
Yeah.
People know that too. So
Toots and the Maytals, actually, I saw them way back at First Ave, and that's what got me into First Ave. That they're handing out flyers for the Scotalites, and so then I hit up First Ave to open up for the Scotalites, and we got the gig opening up for the Scotalites.
oh, that's very cool.
That's what got me into that whole world.
Yeah, I've talked to Toots outside of First Ave myself when he's
He's
hanging
so
outside the
good.
bus. He's such a nice guy too. He's really a nice man.
I thought it was so funny when he's always dancing, but he forgets he's singing. So it's like the sound person must have a hell of a time because the mic is up and then he's dancing and the mic goes away. So it's like you only get like half the music.
Yeah.
But it's so fun and everyone's dancing. It doesn't matter. At least he wasn't throwing it at the stage lights. Remember that band?
No,
This
wow.
one band was swing. They started doing that, and then
Oh,
they
that's-
started throwing the mic and blowing out all the stage lights.
Yeah.
Oh,
And it's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Those are like 300-watt light bulbs. You're gonna get electrocuted.
what is the worst thing that's happened at these?
Oh boy.
Oh,
Because-
what about the guy that put blood all over you, Pete? Oh, call him
Oh.
out.
Can we edit that out?
Got it out there.
No, he's actually a cool guy, but at that time, I don't know if he was just not there. No, he wasn't there. Let's just say they took a keyboard or something, smashed it into pieces, and I think he cut himself up after he cut himself
Oh,
by trying to rip it apart, and then he just kind of touched me, and there was some
Rubbed
rubbed
blood
some
all over
blood
Pete.
over me,
Oh.
and
ugh.
but
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay. That's the first,
You weren't super happy.
Well, I wasn't sure if I didn't know if it was a sign, like am I being marked for something, or I didn't know what to think.
Yeah, well,
like
I
when
mean,
a crazy guy comes up and does that to you, what do you think?
That's a lot to
You
deal
know,
with.
yeah, it's a lot to digest when you're kind of just chilling there working the door.
What's the band that jumped off the stage and jumped on the wall and jumped
Oh, Porch Nights.
Porch Nights?
Oh,
Those
wow.
guys, their show was insane. I'm like, they jumped off the stage like towards the bathroom while playing a
With the
solo,
solo, yeah.
and then jumped onto the wall and like kicked off and jumped back and landed on the stage and kept going. It was
Wow.
How? I don't know how they did that, but that was
like, oof.
impressive.
Way back there was scary times, punk shows and mosh pits and 18 stitches and broken glasses and. Which
Yikes.
we got a little we got a lot mellower.
But nowadays, you think, oh, the most crazy shows would be a metal show. No, actually, they're not as crazy as you think. I think the old school hip hop shows are more crazier than the metal shows or the punk shows.
I think the craziest crowd is the country crowd. 'Cause
Country
those
crowd,
guys
yeah.
drink like
Holy cow!
super duper.
All those cowboys.
Yeah. Oh man.
I'm happy that although we have a younger crowd, 25 to 44 is kind of our demographic, but I always hear from police how nice our crowd is, which I really appreciate that I'm not having to deal with a lot of insanity.
Well, the devil's lettuce is a lot mellower than whiskey.
There is a stereotype about reggae music, isn't there?
I heard something.
Does it fill up generally for shows? or-
Most nights.
Most
Yeah.
nights, yeah.
Okay. So that's a pretty good sign. So if you know the cafe, you can kind of get a good judge of about how many people that is.
Almost full most
Most
nights.
nights.
Or like really full, mostly full, and then once or twice it's like
just kinda like-
kind of a mellow night.
Yeah.
But when you're
Yeah,
like
it's
raging
kinda-
for 7 days straight, it's like
Yeah,
a
they're not
lot.
all gonna be tens or
it's-
whatever.
it's hard to have home runs every night.
Yeah.
That's impressive. You do 7 days.
Yeah, that sounds tiring.
Then it's time for a
Yeah.
nap. We don't do music the next weekend.
No. Thank
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah. And we run our number is about 3,000 people are coming to the park.
Okay.
And all totaled with comp tickets and everybody. We're at about 3,500 now.
Okay.
So,
So
yeah.
with that many people without incident, or without too many incidents,
It's
at the very
remarkable
least.
to me
that's
that
great.
people are so well behaved.
It's a
because
really
that's
good
lot of
crowd.
people.
It's a
Yeah.
really good crowd. Well,
Yeah.
both fests are.
Yes,
Yeah.
But they're earlier. They're family friendly.
Oh,
They're
We have to ask some of our artists to do radio style shows for their lyrics because, especially with the dance hall artists, those are the kind of risque kind of lyrics, you might say. That's, Jamaica and the Caribbean is not as, what's the word I'm trying to say, as far as they're not as uptight about sex. I don't know how else to say it. So they get into some risque lyrics. So because we're a family event, we ask people to use their radio lyrics.
what are they
sometimes.
switching the words to?
Oh, I don't know. I can't tell. I don't know. I just know that sometimes I hear some of our customers say they need to use cleaner lyrics, and I go, okay.
That's kind of funny because when I was backstage, I was like trying to hang out with people, and the accents are so thick. I'm like, wow, I don't even know what you guys just said.
I have a husband of 17 years that's from Jamaica,
Yeah.
and I have to tell him to slow down and talk because I can't understand him sometimes, and I try really hard. But he gets kind of like wound up and talking fast, and I got to say, please repeat. I don't know what you said. I just should, I kind of told you about our lineup, but I should also make mention that we have some Minnesota bands coming too. We've got Dread Eye Dread coming up from the cities, and Roots Within, who were based kind of in Hawaii, are, I think, coming out from Grand Rapids area now. So we've got them coming. And then our DJ is DJ Sound of Fusion. He comes up from Minneapolis and very popular DJ down in the Twin Cities. So we've got quite a lineup, and I really hope people will come out and appreciate the quality of the musicians. These are all world-class performers that are coming, so I hope people come and enjoy the show. It's going to be really something this year.
Yeah, and that's Saturday, July 15th at Bayfront Festival Park. Doors open at 12. Runs until 11.
Yep, that's it. Thank you.
And you're going to make sure they stay on time.
That's Angie's job.
What's your hope and dream for next Pete Fest if you could pick one band?
Oh, wow. Be kind of fun just to see if anyone's still maybe playing that hasn't played. I try to get people that haven't played in a while either. And this year, actually, we did get a few bands that haven't played in years. So maybe another one will happen. We'll have to see what happens.
Brushstrokes reunion.
I did it
Yeah.
once. Maybe it'll happen again. Dan Dresser, are you listening? Because I think that was fun, even though everyone was in their own. But when they played together, that was fun. I don't think there was ever not anyone at that show not having a good time.
Yeah, the Brushstrokes, that was an all-star band. That was Dave Malin, Dan Dresser, George Ellsworth, Chris Eddy, Steph Longstreet, Dykema.
And of course,
Cheer.
Jeremy Olsen on the drums. There was just something about that band. If you got to see them back in the day, like, wow, they transformed this place into like a dark carnival audience type. It was just that it was just fun, but it wasn't. Everyone was having a good time. Like, and they always packed the place. Like,
if you could resurrect a band, that would be the
one. Just because it's a super group in its own way. Like, if you kind of hear them individually doing their own thing or whatever. But George has played with everyone, including a reggae band, Max Dakota and Modern Life back in the day. So.
Yeah, right.
Max
I remember
Dakota,
that. Sure.
whoa.
Yeah.
I think I got a friend request from him recently.
Yeah, I'm like, what's he doing now?
I think he's
Come
like
back
in L.A. or
Yeah,
something.
he's been in California, to my knowledge, but
wow.
I haven't heard of him for a while.
Now that
Wow.
would be a reunion at Reggaefest. if it ever were happened and things were on good terms.
And George was with him, and who else was with Max? I'm trying to think.
He had
now.
different friends. Steve
Okay,
Isaacson
Steve
for a bit.
Isaacson.
Steve, yeah, that's right.
And then Kenny, I don't know if Kenny played drums anymore. I know there was Kenny or that other guy who drummed with.
I wonder if Luke
Luke plays.
Perry played.
Luke
Oh,
Perry,
Luke
too.
did for a bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought so. Yeah,
That was good.
Lucas, who played with us in Uprising. Yeah.
Don't want to be next to the snare drum, though.
No.
Whack.
Keep you on time.
Yeah.
Well, it's been super fun.
Yeah, thank you
you.
for having us have the opportunity to talk over these things. It's great.
Thank you both for coming.
Festy besties.
And fade out.